this was interesting, like really fucking interesting to me. But I was like, I read this in your book.
Yeah.
This right here, this little section right here.
Yeah, so the book, El Infierno, is, well, I'll come on to that in a bit, but that's really just about the prison. I'm halfway through writing the prequel, which is going to be about all this stuff I'm telling you about now, all the trafficking, all the crazy shit. And that's going to be a blinder. Honestly, that's going to be the one.
Yeah, if it's anything like this, it's going to be really crazy. Like you said, people have been soaking clothes in a solution containing the cocaine for a long time.
Yeah,
the
that's
problem
basic.
with that was the smell was easily detected by a sniffer dog.
It starts
would crystallize on the
crystallizing.
material, and it would make it stiffer and therefore quite noticeable. The method we used was a lot more advanced, but also far harder to do. The cocaine was dissolved in a solution of various chemicals and then combined with a type of plastic, while it too was in a liquid state.
Liquid latex.
And this then had to be dried, ensuring the plastic was as thin as possible.
Were you doing the same thing?
Yeah. All right. This is out of your book. This is out of your book, bro.
Oh, my book. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So once dry, you had a piece of plastic very similar to the rubber used for inner tube tires on mountain bikes. It had no smell, could not be detected by X-ray scanner, and we would put a chemical in to counteract the reactive test the police use. These sheets were then incorporated into the lining of something. In your case, it was what you're going to explain what it was, but that blew my mind.
Yeah, man. It's cool, isn't it?
Bruh.
Well, it's not good. I shouldn't say that, but it is. So I'm in Parkhurst, and I read about this plastic garden furniture and blah blah blah. So I get hold of my co-defendant, the musician who's in prison with me now as well. And I said to him, look, our days of dealing drugs in Britain, like the way we were before we got arrested, they're finished. When we come out, we're going to be under surveillance by the police. We're well known to the British police now. It's just, we just can't do it. We just can't go back to the way we were working before because we're going to get arrested pretty quick. So therefore, initially, my plan was to go straight, start a painting and decorating business. My dad had offered to give me all the painting contracts on the back of his building work. So I had a ready-made business to come out and do. So, I'd seen how much it upset my mum, from me trying to help it done the opposite. It actually made things a lot worse. So I get out of prison after 2.5 years on parole, got parole. So I get released. And at that point, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go straight. But whilst I was in Parkhurst, like I said, I got my co-defendant and I said, look, I'm going to go straight when I get out. But if you get a phone call from me at some point, you'll know why. And I explained to him about this newspaper. I think I showed him the article and I said, look, this is cool. I said, this is the only thing I want to do. When we're out, if we decide to start dealing drugs again, this is about the only thing I want to do. I want to get us I want you to try and find us a source for the cocaine direct. So like a Colombian, Peruvian, Bolivian, someone that can supply us direct from South America with pure cocaine that we can then make into plastic or rubber or whatever, to then smuggle back into Britain because it's almost guaranteed to get through. And he said, yeah, sure. If that day comes, just give me a ring. I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can get us a hookup. But for the meantime, we're going straight. So we left it at that. We get released. We go straight. We're painting and decorating. Things are going okay. But daily grind, daily life, the rat race, trying to survive on the painter and decorator's salary, it's not the best money. And having gone from the money I was making before going to prison to that was a bit of a shock. Very hard for me to adjust to. I know people are probably saying, suck it up, deal with it. But, I'm just explaining the situation. This is what happened. It was difficult. And it was starting to piss me off. Started using cocaine again at the weekends with my girlfriend. So, I'm starting to associate with people again. I've got people ringing me almost daily saying, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Can you get us this? Can you get us that? Do you want to be involved in this plot, that plot? There's a lot of stuff going on, all my old associates. And I just keep saying, no, 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 no. And then I had one particular client with a paint and decorating who just wasn't paying, and it just pissed me off. And I'd had a bad week, and do you know what? I was sat there, and I thought, fuck this. I can make a lot of money. And it was just that day, a fuck it day anyway, and you've just had enough. It's one of those days, and you just go, do you know what? Fuck this. And I picked up the phone and I made that phone call to the guy, and I said, look, you know what? I'm calling you. And he said, yeah, come and meet me. You didn't need to say anything on the phone. We were pretty paranoid about the phones by this point anyway. We knew how dangerous they were.
Mm-hmm.
So get in the car, go and meet him, and we have a conversation. I said, look, try and find me a source for the coke. And he said, give me a week or so. I'll go up to London and have a look around, speak to a couple of people, and see what I can do. So we left it at that. He went off. And sure enough, after about a week, I get a phone call and he says, come and meet me. So I go and meet him. And he said, yeah, I've found a guy, a Colombian, Nico, as I called him in the book. Come up and meet him and his friend, a Chilean guy. They're selling coke. And I said, okay, well, initially what I'll do is I'll come up on the pretext of buying a kilo of coke. Because I had a guy from South Wales he'd been asking me for cocaine, basically. So I rang him up and I said, look, I explained my plan. And I said, look, would you finance this? Because he had a lot of money at the time. And he said, yeah, sure. And he said, I need coke anyway. So I said, well, give me the money for a key of coke. I'll go up to London. Initially, I'll just buy a key of coke, have a chat, see what they're like. And we'll take it from there. So I travelled up to London, bought the kilo, met them, had a chat. They seemed okay. So did that once more. And on the second or third time, I said, look, guys, really, the reason I'm actually here is because, I want to start importing cocaine into Britain. I can bring a lot to the table. I can bring a lot of a big customer base. I know a lot of people around Britain. I've got, I can help with logistics. I can get passengers, all sorts of stuff. I've got a lot of contacts. I can bring money to the table to finance it. Would you be interested in teaming up? And they said, well, look, actually, the cocaine you've been buying, we've been importing ourselves anyway. We're already importing on a small scale. It's impregnated in rubber in the ground sheets of tents. And I was like, what the hell?
That's crazy.
I said, guys, I mean, I didn't necessarily have tents in my mind, but it was plastic and rubber I was specifically looking for. And it was just like the eureka moment. It was just like, this is destiny. This is meant to be. It just felt like, wow, this is my life. That's what's supposed to happen. I kind of believe in destiny and all that because of things that happened. And so I explained that this was, kind of the idea that I had. Certainly the rubber and the plastic and impregnation. I was like, wow, cool. So we teamed up. Set a few ground rules about how we were going to operate. Security. Things about. We used to change our phones every 2 weeks on a set day. We wouldn't talk about any specifics on the phone. We'd only use them to arrange a meeting, but any meetings, we'd take the batteries out, chip out, leave the phone at home preferably, all that sort of stuff. We set all these rules at the beginning. We said that whilst we're working, no one's allowed to use drugs or alcohol or any sort of partying, no madness, no one in the lab, because we had to have a makeshift lab to extract the drugs. So one of the main rules, obviously, is don't let anyone know where the lab is that doesn't need to. I mean, that's a weak point in our chain. We said that if any of us get arrested, whoever's left outside, if anyone has to look after the families of the others and take care of everything, all that, all of how it should be.
Yeah.
So yeah, we team up, and I got the guy from South Wales to finance the first one. He put up like £30,000. And with that, we transferred the money out to Cali. This was operating with the Cali people, sort of Cali Cartel end of things.